Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got something for you today. So anybody that watches my channel much knows that I've done a bunch of videos on the Zino 2 and have enjoyed that drone and found it to be quite useful and a high-speed, really fun to fly drone. So with that in mind, I now have the Zino 2 Plus, and so looking forward to getting this guy out and trying it out. And you know, what's the difference between the Zino 2 and the Zino 2 Plus? Well, I'll tell you, the main differences that I can see in looking at the specs are the 2 had a 33-minute, has a 33-minute flight time, and the 2 Plus has a 35-minute flight time, so you get a couple more minutes of flight time. But the transmission system from the RC to the drone and back on the original Zino 2 is called LEAS 2.0, L-E-A-S 2.0, and they advertise an 8-kilometer range. Not that I'm going to fly out to 8 kilometers with any drone, but knowing that you have a strong signal is really handy. And I can say with the Zino 2, I've been very pleased with the control signal strength on this drone. But they've improved it with the Zino 2 Plus. They have what they call sync lease now. And I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell you exactly what that difference means. But I do know they say that it's a stronger signal, and more importantly, it gives you a better FPV signal to your mobile device and to the RC. So one of the things when you're out there with a drone and you're out at distance and you're trying to get a shot, you really need a good strong FPV signal without any stutters, without any modeling in the picture, so that you can get exactly the shot that you expect to get. And so Hubsan has improved that with this sync lease, and it's they're advertising a 9-kilometer range, which, you know, to me, like, I'm never going to fly a drone out 9 kilometers, so you know, that doesn't really matter. Okay, a little bit about the drone itself. Of course, it has brushless motors, and in movie mode it's fairly slow at 1 meter per second. Normal mode about 12 meters per second. And in sport mode, they're advertising the same as the original Zino 2 at 20 meters per second. And I can tell you this, that the Zino 2 is the fastest drone that I have that I've ever flown. So I would say that if this if the 2 Plus matches that, it's a fast, powerful drone, so no worries there. You know, that equates to about, I don't know, 45, 46 miles an hour, which is pretty quick. You're zipping right across the sky. And then again, flight time, they're saying 35 minutes. I have to tell you, I know there's drones that advertise more flight time to that than that, like the Autel Evo 2 comes to mind with a 40-minute flight time. Honestly, the way you have to focus when you're flying a drone, I typically, if I fly more than 20 or 25 minutes, I'm ready to bring that drone in for a landing anyway. So, but that's also insurance. You know, you get out there and you're filming something, you want to know that you can get back, and say you're fighting a headwind or something, returning the drone to you. It's good to know that you have that battery power to do it. And again, then the camera on this drone for video, the resolution, it will shoot in 4K 60 frames per second, which is plenty. In fact, I typically shoot in 30 frames per second. 60 frames per second for me is, you know, if you're going to do some slow motion, etc. But it's nice to know that you can do that. And by the way, in 1080p, you can shoot up to 120 frames per second. So if you're really interested in doing some slow motion, you can do that with this drone. Battery wise, it has a 3800 milliamp battery, which again, we've talked about battery power. And of course, it has a 3-axis gimbal. That's the minimum that you would ask for to have stabilized flight video. And then more information with regard to the camera. It does have an Ambarella H22 image chip, and it's got a Sony 1/2.3 sensor in there, and it they're advertising a 100 megabit bit rate to get you lots of information in your video. And yeah, I guess, you know, the app works well. You know, it's the same app that we use with the Zino 2, and all of your firmware updates, etc., go through the app. Those of us that started with the original Zino and having to hook that drone up to your computer to do the updates, you don't have to do that with this guy. You can do it right through the app, which is handy as heck. So gosh, I guess that's about it. Let's open this thing up and look at what's inside. Okay, so if you get the 2 battery version or the 3 battery version of the Zino 2 Plus, you get this carry case along with it, which is, to me, pretty handy because it's custom made to hold the drone and all the things that go in it. So it does have a little outside compartment here that you can put some odds and ends in, I suppose, you know, documentation or SD cards, etc. I guess I should also point out that on both sides you have a little netted pocket so you can see what's in there, but you know, I suppose you could put your cell phone, etc., something that you wanted to carry with you. And what I like about these netted pockets is nothing gets lost in there. You can see what's in there. Okay, so this is what you see when you open the thing up. Of course, you always get documentation, and here is the Zino 2 itself. We'll look at that in more detail in a second here. And then the controller is in a little side pocket there. And it looks to me, just from the outside, although I know it's Sync-Lease 2, so it's a little different, but it looks pretty much identical to the Zino 2 controller. Okay, in the case you can also see a false bottom here, and when I pull that up it shows you everything else that's in the case. So you can see the extra battery there, the props in one compartment, the charger in that middle compartment, and then the other compartment holds cables, etc. I'll get all that stuff out and show it to you. Okay, here is all the accessories that come with the drone. So a couple of sets of props here, and you'll notice you get the prop screws in there as well. And in this package there's also the little screwdriver, which is kind of handy because it's the exact same size. Also note that the screws have thread locker on them, so if you do replace your props, don't reuse the old screws. I mean, I guess you could, but I would put a little bit of blue thread locker on them. And you also need to be careful about that because I know some of that thread locker is good for plastic, others aren't. So I'll be honest with you, I would just use the screws that Hubsan provides anytime you're replacing your props. And then, of course, you get the typical 3 OTG cables with a micro USB that plugs into the controllers. This one is a USB-C. Then obviously you got the lightning plug for Apple products, iOS, and then micro USB to micro USB if you've got a phone that has that kind of connection. So then this little guy right here is a patch cable so that you can daisy chain the battery charger, and you can charge a couple batteries at once. So you would simply connect these together, and then you would connect the charger to that one, plug this into the wall. Of course, your battery just plugs right in there like that. So you could charge both batteries at the same time. And then they also include, like probably every drone does, a USB-A to micro USB patch cord. Okay, then the drone itself, the Zino 2 Plus. It looks really just about the same size and weight. In fact, if I'm looking at it at the outside, I'm struggling to tell the difference between this and the other Zino 2, which is to be expected. You know, other than it says Zino 2 Plus on the top there, and then the gimbal cover is clear on this guy as opposed to the Zino 2. It's a smoked cover. So I'm looking at the camera and the gimbal on the Zino 2 Plus, and it looks to me just about identical to what's on the other Zino 2. What I'm hoping is when we get this guy in the air, one of the biggest situations with the original Zino 2 was that it had a fair amount of lens flare when you were looking into the sun. So I'm hoping that maybe this has an improved lens on it, that we won't see as much lens flare. But we'll find out when we get it in the air. We'll do a full test, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Okay, it's probably going to be a couple of days because of weather, but I'm going to get this guy out and fly it. So yeah, we'll see you out in the field. Okay, here we are. I've got the Zino 2 Plus, and we're out here at the usual spot where I like to do maiden flight with the drone, out at the Snake River Canyon, out at Dedication Point. So we're going to take the Zino 2 Plus, we're going to throw it up in the air, take it over the canyon, have a good look around. It's there's a little bit of wind today. It's fairly cloudy, so we'll set the thing on cloudy day. I was hoping that it would be, we would have more blue sky, and then we could kind of check out the lens flare on this thing. The original Zino 2, as you know, has a fair amount of lens flare, but with the cloudy day today, we're probably not going to be able to see that. But we will get this guy up in the air. We'll get it out over the canyon. All the calibrations are done. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to mention. I did notice there's a new calibration for this guy. Not only do they have the normal gyro calibration, but they also have a 6-sided IMU calibration too, which is new for the Hubsan Zino. So got all of that done, and you know, we'll put this guy up in the air and we'll see how it looks. Okay, I've got everything fired up here, the controller and the drone, and looking at the status list here. Let's just do our normal safety check. Compass calibration is normal, horizon calibration is normal. It says that the gimbal is normal. So yeah, battery's looking good. Yeah, we should be ready to go here. So let's get out of there and take a look at our camera settings. We'll switch to video. We've got 12 satellites. I noticed that UAV Forecast didn't give us a good satellite count, but I think it said 8, so we've got 12 here, so that should be good enough to fly. And in fact, the drone's saying that it's good enough. So let's look at the camera settings real quick. Video resolution, we're of course going to go to 4K. And then we're going to go to the 30 frames per second. The only time I use 60 is if I think I'm going to be doing something in slow motion. Bitrate, grade 5, which I assume is the fastest, so we'll leave it there. We're going to put white balance on cloudy day because it is kind of a cloudy day today. Color on ordinary. I see it held our grid lines on the main page here, so yeah, I just see no reason not to take off. So we're going to start recording now. So recording has started, and we're going to hit takeoff here on the app. So I'm going to hit right there on the app. Are you sure you want to take off? This is the first takeoff of our Zino 2 Plus. And we got a little bit of a sink there. I mean, I think it was a little bit of wind came up. Let's yaw it around here. And it's moving around a little bit, but we got a little bit of wind. Let's bring it in. I'll see if I can bring it into the camera here. I'm not going to get any closer than that. But yeah, that's about it. I think let's lower that gimbal down just a tad. And it is time for our usual, and boy, the drone just dropped there. It's a Zino. It moves around a little bit, but let's straighten it up here a little bit, and we're going to do our usual manual droney. So reverse and up now, reverse and up. And I hear an aircraft off in the distance. Oh, he is way to the west of me, so we're good. But whenever you hear an aircraft, that's why I stopped there. I just wanted to make sure I knew where he was at. So we'll let him make sure he's completely by us here before we take off. And yeah, let's continue our droney. Go right on out over the canyon. grab a little altitude. And we'll be over the side of the canyon here pretty quick. Moving along pretty good at about 12 meters per second. And there's the edge of the canyon. And where you are around here. And there it is, folks. Snake River Canyon. And one of the things, I guess, that's kind of nice about a cloudy day like today is, you know, normally when we're faced in the wintertime, when we're looking south here, we're looking into the sun, and a little bit cloudy, so not so much. That's me picking up the gimbal. It looks like we got a really nice steady flat horizon. Looking pretty darn good. I'm going to get down here so we can get a little better look at the canyon. Yeah, that looks better. Less sky and more of the river, and the river looks awful placid today. Drone seems to be handling just fine, so I mean, I got to tell you, I'm very pleased. We definitely must have a headwind, because we're coming back at just about 3.5 meters per second. Unless we're in cinema mode here. No, it says normal mode, so yeah, we must be pushing quite a headwind. Okay, I'm going to flip it into sport mode. Yeah, that made a difference. That got us up to about 8 meters per second. Boy, that is just a beautiful view, and I cannot believe how placid the river looks today. I figured we better get out and fly today, because the weatherman says tomorrow we're supposed to get some snow, so this was an opportunity to get out and fly. Okay, let's yacht around and let's head the other direction. Down to 81% battery, 14 satellites. You know, I changed my mind. Let's go ahead. Let's keep going this way, and because if we go the other direction, we'll be going with the wind, and then we'll have to come back against the wind. So I just think that looks better. We get a better look at the canyon as I lower the gimbal there. So really, for this first flight, it's mostly just checking out how does this guy fly, how does it handle, and so far so good. I'm telling you, I can tell by the speed. Look, I am at full throttle in sport mode, and we're only going about 7 meters per second. So boy, that'll tell you it's quite a pretty good wind coming down the canyon there. And let me move off to the side here and yaw around. I'm gonna try and get you a look at the dam. And there it's coming into view. So what you see off in the distance there is the Swan Falls Dam. Okay, I'm gonna turn it around and get the sun at our backs, and we're gonna go the other direction, and we'll test our thesis with regard to the wind today, and let's just see what kind of speed we get going the other direction. In fact, let's just go sideways down the canyon here and kind of give you a look at the canyon wall. And this is a pretty good test of the gimbal on this drone. You can see we've got a nice flat horizon. If I was to try this same move with like the FIMI X8, what you'd see is a tilt in the gimbal, and it'd be a little crooked. So that's one thing that Hubsan has always been really good at, is keeping a nice flat horizon with their gimbal. Okay, so let's move around. Oh, I didn't mean to go that fast, but we are in sport mode. And turn the other way. And man, is that pretty or what? And you can tell we are going with the wind this direction, because look at, we're up to about 19 meters per second there. So with that in mind, I am not going to go too far this direction. Let's kind of move sideways over the canyon here and kind of give you well, a yaw faster than I wanted to there. Yeah, and you can see the gimbal getting blown around a little bit, so no doubt we have a little bit of a crosswind where we're out there as the wind is blowing down the canyon. And turning it around here, I'm telling you, discretion is the better part of valor. With that kind of wind down there, we're gonna head it back this direction. And one of my favorite moves here is just to come right down the edge of the canyon, and you can see, you know, our speed definitely. More to the edge here, and you can see that we're definitely slowed down as we're coming back this direction, because we're pushing against the wind. And again, I'm in sport mode. So here we come. Really just a beautiful day today. I have to tell you, there's more people out visiting the canyon today than I've seen in a while. I don't know if it's well, we're not quite at Christmas vacation yet, but evidently close enough. And it is windy up there, because I can feel the drone fighting the wind and moving around a little bit. And let me tell you, this is a powerful drone, and for this guy to be fighting the wind, it must be pretty darn strong. In that trail on the edge of the canyon there, you'll see a lot of people trek along there. Of course, there's nothing to keep you from going over the side, so you have to be careful. And we're coming towards almost to the viewpoint here, almost over the top of us. I'll see if I can line it up and get right over the top of us here. There we are, and that's me standing by that bench there. There's some people along that trail, so we're going to stay way to the side, not go over the top of them. But boy, a lot of people out walking around today. We're down to 53% battery. So let's take a look. This spot is always fascinating to me, where they made this kind of compass out of rocks here, and I've been told that the Boy Scouts have rebuilt it a few times, and you can see it there, and it's pointing north, although that's not exactly due north, and that used to say "I love you, Mom." So let's turn around and take a look at it here. Okay, we're going to spin this thing around. And again, we're in sport mode here, so it's a little trying to be kind of ginger on the sticks. Back it up here just a little. And there it is. What does that say there? It says... "I love you so much." It used to say "I love you, Mom." Now it says "I love you so much." That's pretty cool, but that compass is just a little bit off. Anyway, kind of interesting. And in fact, it's way off. Because what it's saying is east is actually... Well, no, maybe, oh yeah, no, they've got it right. I looked like an E, that's a west, so that's W, so that's correct. So they've got the E on the right side and the W on the right side. I thought they had it just backwards. Okay, let's pick up that gimbal and get a better look. And I think there's no reason that we shouldn't just go right back out over the canyon. We're at 44% battery. So let's fly along the edge here. It's always the best shot, in my opinion. One of the best, most dramatic shots here. And in fact, we can kind of back it up and kind of get a sideways view here. One of my favorite ways to see the canyon. Let's drop a little altitude, bring it down. And now we're far enough out over the canyon that we're not going to bother anybody. There's some people walking around here, so the last thing you want to do is bother folks. Battery level at 40%, so when we get down to 30%, discretion is the better part of valor, we will hit return to home. In fact, let's just go right back over the top of the canyon rim here. I don't want to get too far because I know coming back we would be fighting the wind, so you know, first flight with this drone, still kind of getting to know it. There is another look at what the territory looks like here. And this guy's moving right along here. You know, we were up to, I think, 19 meters per second there. And that's the parking area where everybody's parked. And usually you're only going to see my car there, but today there's quite a few folks enjoying this view. Can't blame them. I don't know if it's just me, but you know, I've been coming out here for a while, but it seems to be getting more popular all the time. Oops, sorry about that quick yaw, didn't mean to do that. What I wanted to do was kind of get the other direction from the from our landing spot, because like I said, I want to be downwind so that we've got the wind with us when we're coming back. Take one more look over the side of the canyon. And you can see we're fighting the wind going this direction. You know, typically in sport mode, we'd be going a lot faster than this. Battery level is at 30%, so let's go ahead. Let's try out return to home. So I'm going to do that on the controller here. I'm going to hit the button, and it took it. And let's see, yeah, the drone took the command and it's turning around and coming back to us. Now I think I read if I hold the function button down for 2 seconds, it'll stop the beep. Let's try that. And it did. Long press will stop that beep. Good to know. And here we are down here. And I'm going to stop recording as soon as we get over the top of us, and we'll see how it does on precision landing. And it's starting to descend, orienting itself. Okay, I'm turning recording off now, and let's see if this guy will stick that landing. If not, we'll cancel it. It's looking like it's off just a little bit. But as it gets closer, it should see it. Yeah, there, you see it moving around there. Searching for apron, and it's got the target on it, so let's see what it does. Lots of wind here. The wind is definitely blowing the bird around. I'm watching it move around. Yeah, it's moving around a lot. Yeah, I had to take it up because okay, I stopped it because wow, it's wanting to land. Okay, there, I think it convinced it should stop. I thought I stopped it in the app, but evidently not. It moved off quite a bit there, so I didn't want it to land in the sagebrush. In fact, we'll start recording again so you can see this. Let's bring it on in. And it is really moving around here. So I'm holding it down, trying to put it in landing mode. There, we finally got it in landing mode. So we're going to stop recording. And you know, typical of what I've seen with this drone, if you look at the height there, the altimeter, it's still thinking it's 4 meters off the ground. But anyway, let me get it shut down here real quick, and we'll do our conclusion. Okay, the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus. So this is our first flight, and you know, I always like to, on a first flight with a new drone, I always like to send it over the canyon. You know, kind of a christening, if you will. Gosh, I think it did just fine. You know, we'll take a look at the video off the SD card. It was kind of interesting lighting conditions today with the clouds, the sun coming out, and then the clouds and coming over and so forth. We had the white balance set on cloudy days, so I'm anxious to see how the video looks off the SD card. But nice flight. The drone handled well. It was obvious to me as we got over the canyon that there was a fair amount of wind, because at one point we were only able to get the drone up to about I don't know, 4 meters per second there, which, you know, that's about 9-10 miles an hour, which this is a very powerful drone. So typically it would be going faster than that. And in fact, you saw when we went the other direction, I don't know, we had it well over 40 miles an hour going the other way. So quite a difference. But we got to see a lot of the countryside here, and got to try this guy out. No complaints that I could see. You know, it moved around a little bit, which in my experience is typical with the Zino 2. My original Zino 2 is kind of that way. And then when we landed, it was trying to do that precision landing, and at the very end it backed off. So, you know, I hit that. I thought I'd canceled the landing, but it kept trying to come down. So I with the stick, pushed it back up and finally got that canceled and just did a manual landing there. But it was moving around, and we had some winds gusting there right at that time. So I'm going to say that that was probably understandable. All right, so wow, I just heard a gunshot here. There's people out shooting, so but in any case, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and I hope you liked our introduction to the Hubsan Zino 2 Plus. I sure enjoyed giving you the introduction and taking it out and flying it. So hey, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. The Hubsan Zino 2 Plus, it did just great. All right, see ya.